Welcome. So we're just here today giving a real quick update to the Mei Hatsume deck. Obviously, there was support that was released, or indirectly released through the DLC for this deck. So we did take a different route from what we used to. Before we were running the Stash Strike variant, which I do believe the Stash Strike variant is really, really good, but I think this variant might actually go and catch people by surprise enough where they might not expect it coming from a player that isn't exactly always aggressive, but isn't always also like laid back either. I guess that's the best way to put it. But I actually do have tournament results revolving around this deck, due to the fact that I actually played it in an event last weekend. So we're going to see if we can get this up here. Doesn't look like it. Anyways, I'll try and edit it in there. So the basis of it was that my buddy Kelvin won the event. I got second place, and then the other players were quite interesting actually. Um, they were playing Cementos. Cementos, people are like, oh yeah, card's absolutely great. You can go and build this, build that, do all this shit for free. That's cool. But once I tell you that I can go and sit there and deal almost 15 to 20 damage to you on my second turn, then what do you do as Cementos? Cementos itself is a great deck in theory, but it doesn't have the ability to withstand early game aggro a whole lot unless they are able to draw into like things like Face Shield, Wall Clings, etc. Things that are defensive options. And obviously most Cementos players might not be playing that depending upon the symbols they're in. So let's get right into this. I hope everyone knows what Mei Hatsume herself does, but for those of you that don't know, Mei Hatsume states, before the game begins, search your deck for 4 copies of Box Full of Babies and remove them from the game. First form, build 1 copy of Box Full of Babies you're going to remove from game pile. And enhance, flip 1 foundation. Your tech or weapon attack gets +1 damage for each asset in your stage. Pretty easy, pretty simple. She's a 5-hander, 58 or 28 life. Box Full of Babies has enhanced once a turn, draw 1 card. Then discard 1 card unless your character is Hatsume Mei, or Mei Hatsume. And then enhance commit, your tech or weapon attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage. So this is where this card is absolutely absurd. So being able to sit there and just be like, okay, cool, I have 2 out. This is my second turn. I can suspend both of them, give +2 speed, +2 damage to something. It's really, really, really good. I'm going to go and start off with the attacks. So for create capturing net, has combo foundation. Combo enhances attack gain stun 2. Being able to suspend 2 on your second turn is really, really good to be able to stun your opponent, so that way you can get a blast through. And then it has another enhanced, build 1 foundation from your card pool face up. So you're able to reduce the cards in your card pool. So let's say you have foundation in slot 1, you do create capture net. You can go and use the enhance to build the foundation and move the create capture net down. So that way your next attack that you play that turn is only +1. Really, really good. Absolutely great card. Next, we're playing 4 copies of Netgun Surprise. 2 mid block, stun 2. Has response card pull remove after your rival plays an attack, reduce its speed to 1. So obviously we're not Mineta, so we can't reduce their speed down to 0 and be able to draw a card, but we can at least reduce our card pool and use this card basically to block for just free value basically. As well as it's a stun 2 attack, 3 for 3. Can't beat it. It's a 4-drop attack, but nothing much that you can do about that. And then we are playing 4 copies of Electromagnetic Stomp. It's a low block for 1, which is great. It's a 4/4. Has stun 1. Has kick and tech. Tech is a very special, or very, very required keyword in this deck, I should say. It has enhance momentum, commit 1 foundation, add this card to your hand. It also has, when we're added to momentum, it gets added face up. And enhance, lose 2 life, ready 1 foundation. So obviously being able to push in damage, rest your box full of babies to get additional damage is always huge. That's it for the 4 drops. Oh, sorry, you guys. Moving to the 5 drops, we're playing 4 copies of Knife Slice. Really, really great card in this deck. It has Enhance. The next time your rival loses health, this combat phase, they lose 1 health and you gain 1 health. So being able to sit there and burn them for 1, it's really, really good. And then Deadlock Enhance, your rival loses 2 health. And that's not limited to the whole entire point of like, hey, look, your opponent's life can't be reduced below 1. So, and actually one of the matches I played, the Cementos player got down to 2. They were deadlocked, and I'm just like, oh, yep, you're dead. It's guaranteed win. You can, in theory, burn for 3 damage off of this, which is really good. Because that then puts them, if they're at 3 or lower, they're in lethal range, is what it comes down to. Due to the fact of that you do the first enhance and then you follow with the deadlock enhance if they can't reduce their deadlock down. Next for the MVP of the whole entire deck, Cannon Blast. So this is a card that came out of the DLC Crimson Rampage, DLC 2.0 basically. It just has charge range weapon, and it states enhance commit 1 foundation. This attack gets +1 speed, +2 damage. Enhance commit 2 foundation. This attack gets +2 speed, +4 damage. So the basis of it goes, you have your Mei, you have 2 foundations, and you have 2 box full babies. What you're going to do is you're going to draw the 2 on your first enhance off of this, and you're going to go up to, let's say, 6 cards in hand, because you just played 1, so you're at 4, you draw 2, you're at 6, okay? Then, ever so slowly, you're just going to start suspending stuff. You're going to suspend this. You're going to gain a speed, gain a damage. So you're already at 5-6. You'll become a 6-7, okay? Then from here, you're going to flip one of the foundations, okay? Before you rest it, or after, it doesn't really matter. And you're going to give it +2 more damage, okay? So at that point in time, you are a 6-9, and you're going to suspend the 2 foundations you have on board, making you a, what is that, a 8-11? And depending upon whether or not you have more foundations, etc., you can increase the damage even higher. I believe the highest Cannon Blast I got was against my buddy Kelvin. Game 1 against Tsukiyomi. I actually hit, I believe, 15 damage on turn 2. And I put him in a very, very tight position. He ended up losing the next turn, but I put him in a very, very awkward situation where he himself was unable to do anything to stop me. But I mean, the card is just absolutely absurd. A lot of people are opting to play Stash Strike because what they'll do is they'll build into the late game and they'll just be like, okay, cool, Stash Strike into double Cannon Blast, which isn't bad, but personally I'm not a huge fan of it because with Stash Strike you have to rest 1. With this, if it's your first attack and you're at 0, you have a possibility to just hit right off the bat. And you don't have to commit foundations or anything, which I feel is just better. For my personal play style, everyone has their personal way that they play, and sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse than what the better players of the format or better players of the game do. But it's just it's what works for me, and it's how I'm going to keep it. Moving forward, we're playing 4 boxable babies. Just has a simple enhance, remove the top 3 cards of your discard pile. This attack gets +1 damage. Recovery Girl, flip, gain 1 health. We want to be able to go and take the game into the late point or mid to late game if we have to go make sure we generate enough advantage to be able to do all the stuff we need to. Then we're playing 4 copies of Release, blow up a foundation, get +2 on block check, and 3 copies of Tight-Lipped, just to flip a foundation to get +1 damage. We are playing something in here that does unflip or committed face-down foundations. So this card is absolutely huge in regards to that. Then for the 2 1-drops, technically there should be 4 1-drops in this deck at minimum, if not 5. But I opted to just play 2 high-value target. Being able to sit there and commit this as 2 to check a block is really, really good. And also before one of your foundations would be destroyed, because we are starting to get more effects that destroy foundations or assets, you destroy this instead. It's really, really good. Then we go 4 copies of Wool Cling. Flip. This attack is blocked. It deals no damage. Really, really easy and simple, straightforward. I mean, as long as you're able to block something, it's mid block, half block, etc. You're just able to reduce the damage down to 0. Then for the more expensive piece is first villain encounter. Has enhanced commit. Your attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage. So working with Cannon Blast, you can go and pump damage and pump speed. And then your next ranged attack this turn gets -1 difficulty. So if you go, let's say, create capture net, ready, get a foundation into your zone, okay? And then you're just like, okay, cool, I have a Cannon Blast in hand. I have 3 of these, 3 or 4 of these up. We're going to just commit all of them, give capture net +4/+4, and just be like, okay, cool. My next ranged attack this turn has -4 difficulty. Well, if you're at 0, so that means you're playing Cannon Blast in 1, okay? You're at -4, that means you're only having to check a 2. And being able to check a 2 is a heck of a lot easier in this deck to do than anything else. And you go off. I mean, heck, I believe all of our attacks are 3 drops or higher, so and I actually think almost this entire deck is 3 or higher for all of its checks. So for the most part, you really only need 2 to be able to check over anything. But yeah, this card is absolutely absurd. And the Deadlock Enhance is just flip. Your rival adds 2 foundations from their stage to their card pool. So if someone wants to play a late game with us, we can make it so that way it's absolutely atrocious for them to block, which I'm not opposed to. Next, we're playing 4 copies of Face Shield. A lot of people are playing 2. I opted to play 4. I felt Face Shield was way too good in certain matchups, especially the Cementos matchup, due to the fact of, like, Cementos' attacks get so fucking huge, like, so big. I think the one guy wasn't even trying to get it up really high, but he got up to, like, 14 damage, which that's excessive. It's absurd. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Successful Sales Pitch. This card, it's a love and hate relationship. So basically all it does is it has response commit. After your tech attack deals damage, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 tech card, reveal this way to your hand, discard the remaining cards. Realistically, I'm debating changing this out, in all honesty. I feel like Destined for mainstream success and other cards are just better. Even Evade and Copy is probably better than this, in all honesty. Obviously, Evade and Copy, you don't get the enhance, but the response of being able to force an opponent's attack down to a blockable speed is actually really, really good. And it did save me in 2 of my games, so I can't complain there. But the basis of it is that you just get to add more cards to your hand. It's not bad, but there's definitely things that can be played over it. We're playing 2 copies of Glamorous. This is actually one of the things I'm tempted to put in 4 of, because being able to go and sit there and after you build it face up, unflip a foundation that's face down is really, really good, especially since we do have attacks and foundations that flip cards. So. And it also has enhanced. Flip this attack gets +3 speed. Only playable if this attack speed is less than its printed value. I mean, it's good, but I don't know. It's up in the air still. I'm going to keep working on this and trying to get it better. Obviously, there's new training method you can play over some of these cards. And new training method expedites you into the late game, but I don't know. I'm up in the air about it. I feel there is better cards to be played in certain slots. Next, we're playing 2 copies of Mid-Match Advertisement. This card is complete garbage. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, you need to get this card. No, out of the entire day whenever I played, this didn't come up at all. I played 3 rounds, technically like 8, 9 games in total. And it never came up. And it was so bad when I checked it, because it's like, I more wish that this was a Destined for mainstream success. So that way I could just go and be like, okay, cool, I'm going to look at the top card of my deck and be able to go and be like, okay, cool, I know what this is, I can add it to my hand, or so on and so forth. And then time for the most valuable card in this entire deck, I feel. Excited for Blood. 4 copies of it. Just simply states, response, flip after your rival loses health, gain 4 health. They're really, really good. In response, once per turn, lose 2 health after your rival loses health, draw 1 card. It's really, really good. Especially when if your opponent is underneath deadlock, you use Knife Slice to trigger this, and it's so good. It's so disgusting. It does a lot in this deck, and it's one thing I will never change. This deck, I feel you want to and have to play 4 copies of Excited for Blood. Obviously, you can go and argue playing 3, but I feel 4 is just way too good to avoid. And then lastly, we're playing Trace Chick Cape. It has unique, so we're only playing 1 of it. And I mean, Mei does get benefits from it because of being an asset, but we only really have a need for 1. And it has first enhanced commit, unflip 1 committed foundation, and a deadlock form, remove, add up to 2 range attacks in your card pool to your hand. Which, I mean, that's good, right? That's good. I mean, you're able to go and just be like, oh, okay. Cannon blast back to my hand. Thank you very much. Like, there's really nothing else more that you want to add off of that. But I mean, it's only if you're in deadlock, so it doesn't come up a whole lot. But I think it came up once throughout the entire day. I'm just like, up, okay. Add a cannon blast back to hand, reset, go back to it, hard drop, and just go off. They didn't have an answer to it. They couldn't block the second one because they had no cards in hand and they had no way to reduce the speed or damage or anything else. So, moving on to the sideboard. So the sideboard I was testing this past weekend. It's not perfected. It's not the greatest thing ever since sliced cheese or anything. But I do feel I'm on to what I want, on something that I want for my sideboard. So 4 copies of Ready, Get, Set, Go. Really simple form, remove, draw a card, and response after your opponent builds that 4th foundation this turn, build up to 2 foundations from your hand. Being able to play this in response to turn 1 aggressive like build decks, like Kirishima, Cementos, etc. It's actually really, really good. I sort of went out on gamble and just went right away for this card in the sideboard because if I played it in the main, it's slots I could use for something else and stuff that I felt was better than this. But the basis of it is that it's still of course I mill a card and whatnot, but I do get to draw a card. So you're thinning your deck by 2. You're thinning your deck by 2, but one of them's a draw, one's a mill, so it's sort of like a pot of greed in a way, but for Yu-Gi-Oh! Term-wise, it's sort of like a pot of greed, more like cycling, but same difference, right? Then we're playing 1 Ultra Compressed Weights. This card was really, really weird this past weekend because being able to force a player to not be able to remove a card from their card pool was actually really, really stupid. And it forced my opponent to play around certain things because once we went into game 2, it's just like, okay, if you're removing stuff from your card pool, I sided this in and just like, okay, cool, what are you going to do now? And then besides that, it also has after your attack deals damage, choose 1 committed rival foundation. While this card is committed, the chosen foundation cannot be readied. There is a couple foundations I didn't want readied in certain matches. I don't remember what they were because, I mean, this has happened over almost 2 weeks ago. We normally go to this place once a month. But yeah, being able to sit there and play this in the sideboard was absolutely amazing. I might even bump it to 2. I feel there's no need for 3 or 4. I feel 1 to 2 is just enough so we see it frequently enough where it's going to actually matter. Then we're playing 2 copies of High Value Target. Same reason why we're playing in the main board, just to go and sit there and help with blocking. Depending upon what deck we're playing against, some decks get extremely aggressive, and we want to be able to have this in there to go and be able to help counteract that. Next, we're playing 2 copies of New Training Method. This is one of the cards I was saying that you can go and put in here. It is really, really good. I don't like it. Just don't like it in the main board. I feel it's not enough. It does a lot, but it's not enough. It's not enough for what I want. I want to be able to sit there and just turn 2, drop a huge attack, drop a volley, and just be like, oh, okay, you can't do anything. And lastly, we're playing 1 copy of Evading Copy. Evading Copy was like okay when I saw it, but I feel there's more to it than just playing 1 of. If anything, I would go and swap it out. But playing as a 1 of, it did save my skin once or twice, and it was nice to go and have. I at this whenever this event was, I didn't have the XR. I actually just got it this morning from a case that my buddy and I opened. From a case that Kelvin and I opened a set 2. But I mean, it's definitely something to look into. Evading Copy is a very, very good card, and we are more of a defensive character, so we might see a huge amount of defensive plays that we could toss in here. That might change around how we do Mei, but I feel anything with Cannon Blast is just absurd right now. I feel Cannon Blast is just way too good in the format. Being able to sit there, even turn 2, drop 11 damage on board guaranteed, is absolutely crazy. I love this deck. It was a lot of fun to pilot. Not as busted as Mineta 2.0, but still really, really good. And I'm surprised about that. I didn't think it would do as good as it did, but playing even against more experienced players, there was a learning curve for me. But I was able to figure out what I needed to figure out just like 10 minutes beforehand because one guy was willing to play Cementos against me, and being able to know firsthand how to counteract Cementos and whatnot was a really huge thing for me because I myself was able to go and change the way I played to be just a little bit more aggressive in what they're able to go and handle. I mean, it also helped that like a lot of the time they would check like when they would play a foundation, they would hit their attacks. So they wouldn't have the attacks that they need in hand to go and deal a ton of damage that would go and change the game to one-sided, etc. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Obviously, if you guys have any questions or you want to go and talk about the lists, etc., we can go through all that. It's definitely a fun list. It's something I enjoyed playing. Is it competitive? Probably not. If you want to play a more competitive version, I would definitely play New Training Methods in the main board to go make so that way turn 1 you can go off, possibly do 3 or 4 foundations without triggering Ready, Get, Set, Go. Also playing Destined for mainstream success over the one, I think it's mid-match advertisement, and then changing out successful sales pitch for it possibly. Possibly changing around the amount of face shields at first villain encounter, etc. There's a lot of options you guys can change to make this more competitively viable, but this is the iteration I like the most. I am going to work on it. I'm going to go and put in Destined for mainstream successes in this deck because I feel they are. I don't feel they're required, but I feel they add a huge amount to this deck in comparison to a lot of other things. But with that, you guys, I hope you all enjoyed this deck profile. Obviously, if you guys did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I know these videos are long, but I myself am unable to edit them, and I'm sorry about the gap in being able to upload these videos. I actually was injured at work, so I had to do physical therapy for the past couple weeks. I'm finally able to get back to my regular schedule of everything I want to get done. And hopefully we're going to actually soon start having more Digimon stuff. I actually go this weekend to pick up some of the stuff I got hold of from a friend of mine. I have a couple decks tossed together right now, tossing around ideas for BT9 meta. Obviously, everything's going to change around hopefully soon, so that way we can go and do a lot of other things. But I mean, as soon as I have updates for things, I'm going to start posting them, you guys, and we're going to hopefully be able to make it so that way we can get following. I would love to go and get this game off the ground here in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. So anyone that lives in Lebanon, PA, if you're definitely looking for somewhere to play, we do have the Alchemist Cove up near Schuylkill, Haven County, or Schuylkill, wherever it is, up by the old mining towns. And we actually do have, there is another one, I don't know what it's called. They start at 6 p.m. Alchemist Cove starts at 1 p.m. on Saturdays. So definitely look into it. We definitely want to go and start pushing for more players to go and join in on everything. Because more players just means more benefit for all the players that are playing currently. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Obviously, look on the brighter side of all this and enjoy playing this game. This game's a lot of fun. And to be honest, I don't want it to change anytime soon.